Well, hello, Lovelies, and welcome back to Mama G Gear. It's Mama G here, and Gus. He just hopped on my lap when I'm getting ready to videotape, and he's falling off. Anyway, I know it's been a minute since I've done a video. I apologize. I just really haven't had anything to do a video on, or the desire and interest to do videos. So there's that. Anyway, don't forget your thumbs. It's truly appreciated. If you have the ability to hype this video, I would be so greatly appreciative of that as well. And I'm going to drop Gus. Oh, okay. This is what Gus likes to do. He likes to hug and kiss. What I'd like to show you today is a bunch of sweaters that I've been making. Any of you that follow the channel know that I love to crochet sweaters. None of these sweaters are patterns that I followed. They might be inspired by certain patterns, like one's a hexie cardigan, but I did a little twist to it, and I'll explain to you what I did there. Other than that, I'm looking at them as I'm talking to you. Other than that, I pretty much did them on my own, and I don't follow patterns, so I just have to kind of make it up. All right. I love you too, Gus. Okay, can we get to the sweaters? We didn't make any sweaters for Gus because Gus already wears a fur coat. All right, you got to get down, buddy. All right, thank you for my personal space. Okay, so I have to apologize ahead of time that I don't remember all. Now I got Gus fuzzed, stuck to my chapstick. I don't remember all the yarns that I used. I try to keep the labels with them, but that doesn't always happen. So bear with on that. This I do. This is the fleece. It might be discontinued, but I bought quite a bit of it. It's really super, super soft. And it's a hood, because most of mine have hoods because I love them. And then straight down, I hope you're getting a good view. I was going to do a fashion show, but just not going to do it. But if you notice, I did the front panel longer than the back panel, or shorter than the back panel. That was wrong. And then the sleeves are coordinated with the color. So I did a little bit of color control with this. It's a 5 weight. I do believe I did a double crochet. And then, of course, we have the hood. You know, it's a nice big full hood that's just around and then attach on top. But yes, yeah, super, super, super soft yarn. And it was fun to work with. Trying to think, this one I don't think was very splitty. And I also left the bottom, you know how it's, I didn't put a finished edge on the bottom. I wanted it to have that kind of old stretched out kind of look, that comfy look. So there's that one. This one I do, however, remember the yarn I used. And you might recognize it when you first see it. It is just a crop hoodie sweatshirt. There's the hoodie. It's a very soft yarn and also a heavy yarn. This is done out of a little bit of a flare sleeve. I did this with Bag O'Day's tonal yarn. I bought one of each color and then a whole bunch of another color and some of this color. So yeah, this was that's part of the yarn. I guess it just didn't die in that spot, but it still gives it, yeah, there's a little one here too, but it gives it more of a rustic, kind of comfy look there as well. Hopefully, anyway. Allegedly. All right. Here's one. Whoops, we're sliding all over the place. This one here I did a little while ago. It's on a hanger because it's going with me. At the time of this filming, we're going to be doing, Rusty and I are doing a vending event, and I'm bringing some of my wares to try to sell. This is one that I am probably going to bring with me. Flare sleeves. And this is one of my designs. So you've got the flare sleeve. The sleeve goes all the way across, if you notice, all the way across the top. So you go from one end all the way to the other end of the sleeve, to wrist to wrist. And you start with 2 big granny squares, one in the front and then the same in the back. Attach them up to where you're going to go with your armpit. And then I did do a unconventional tutorial on how to do one of these, but then I just attach the yarn on both sides under the armpit and then count how many chains to go to the length of the arm, and then come back, go to the front with one of the arms, and then with the other arm that I do, I come back and go through the back. So I crisscross back and forth, so it's joined on the bottom on both sides, and then when I get to the top, I believe I just attach it. Yep, I just attach it on top, and then I did a little trim around the neck just to clean it up. And I did have a little yarn left, and it was primarily white, so I just kind of made a little, this is one of the cross stitches. I call this the Mama G's X-rated stitch. And then in between that, I believe, is a half double. But that's a stitch that I didn't see anybody that does it quite like I do it. I really did research, but there's also a tutorial on the Mama G X-rated stitch. That's a while back that I figured that. But anyway, I thought this was a really super pretty sweater. It does fit me. I'm a medium small, but I was going to keep it, but oh my God, how many sweaters. And I really enjoy making sweaters. So if I don't have a lot, I'll make more. So there's that. I'm going to put the ones I've done on the bed. This is a bed. Oh my, hopefully there's a label in this one, and maybe this is the label. Yeah, okay, cool. Here's the label. This is the Red Heart Roll With It melange. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm trying to have a French accent there. I should say and emphasize the word trying. Anyway, we do horrible accents, by the way. Another just hoodie, very similar to the one that I did with the Bag O' Days yarn. This is a little longer than the, well, yeah, it's probably a little longer than the crop. This goes to my waistline. And then the sleeves don't flare. These sleeves are just straight out. This is, let me just make sure that I forget. I do so many. This, I made the body in the round. I do believe I made the body in the round. I started from the bottom of here and just went all the way around and kept going until I wanted to stop at the armpits, and then went back and forth on one side, back and forth on the other side, attached the tops of the shoulder once it got to the top of the shoulder, and then the sleeves I worked in the round. And I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, just deal with it because I don't know the right terminology. So I did the sleeves in the round, and then just went from the front, and I left a little bit of a space, as you could see there, and just went around back and forth to create the hood, which has your flat pointy back. And then once I got it to the top where I feel it's kind of, I call it the Wuthering Heights look, where it kind of drapey, I just attached, sewed this up on the inside. So yeah, this was really pretty. Oh, let me give you the colorway. This may be discontinued, this yarn, because they do that to us all the time. If I can find a colorway, I'll tell you real quick. Yeah, Autograph. Interesting name. Yeah, very pretty. Purples, blues, grays. It's very pretty. All right, so that's one of the other sweaters. I will say that there was way more than what I'm showing you, because many of those found other homes already. But these are the more recent ones that I've done. This one here, oh, let me put the wrapper back with that. This one here, really love this yarn, the Caron Colorama Halo. I do believe that it is also, oh no, you could still get some of it. Never mind. I take that back. Oh, one of those big stink bugs is on the ceiling. Yeah, they smell like a grass to me. They call them stink bugs because they get nervous and they make a smell, but it's not really a horrible smell. Not like the ones in Florida. I remember when I was down Florida, those stink bugs really did stink. Anyway, this Colorama Halo, I am working on a sweater right now. It's in my bedroom with the yellow. It's like a honey to yellow color, and it's just going to be a basic cardigan, but really like working with it. Again, super, super soft, fluffy yarn, and it is another crop. And I changed the colors, as you see, and then you've got the sleeves. I did color control. This is a trans sweater. If you know, you know. And kind of a flare sleeve on that one as well. And of course a hoodie, because I love hoodies. Nice big floppy hoodie on this one. And being that it's so floppy, what I did again leave a little space in the front. I made a chain and then just weaved it around so you can cinch that here around your head. All right. This one, Rusty has already claimed it's wide. You know, it's going to be very wide on me. So it'll fit Rusty very well. She's a little wider than I am. Most people are. Okay, so that was the roll. Nope, that was the Caron Colorama Halo, which again, I do love. This is one that I made. I started quite a while ago. It's made out of granny squares, and I like making granny squares, but I didn't understand how to connect the granny squares. So I'm still trying to find what works best for me to connect granny squares. So I have a couple blankets. I've made a few other things with granny squares, and I need to find a way to connect the granny squares that I really enjoy doing, because to me it's boring, and I don't like boring. I like to do things that are fun. But this I will say, my son, Tony, I had all these squares, and I put them together. It's just a nice long duster, and I put all the squares together, and here's the back. So there's I believe I did 3 squares in the back, and then 1 square on each panel on the sides, and I needed to do a hoodie and also fill in some space because I had the 3 panels on the back, the 3 squares on the back widthwise. So I needed more yarn or fabric in the front. So I will say that Tony is who said, "Oh, make it pop, Ma." So I did the stripes, and the stripes do not go along the bottom of the sweater. They just go on either side, but then look what he told me to do with the hood. Tell me that doesn't... I mean, I would never have thought of this myself. So I did 2 big grannies that would accommodate the hood, be the size for the hood, and attached it so you've got that. I should have modeled these because they look so much better on. But there's your sweater, and then there's your hoodie. But it pulls it together because you've got the stripe in the front going down the front of the... So it really gives it a nice pop. So I was impressed because I wouldn't have thought of that myself. And I had it on showing him, and I was like, yeah, I got to do something here. I don't really know. And I think I was running out of the color yarn, or maybe I was thinking it was like way too much of this particular color. He goes, "No, Ma, put the cream color, that off-white." He goes, "That'll be a nice pop." So kid's got good taste. All right. Let's just stick with the next one. Will be also a granny. No hood on this one. What? No hood? Because I don't remember what yarns I was doing. Anyway, this is more of a kimono type. It's definitely just a hexie cardie. All right, it's a typical hexie cardie, but I added a little bit more on the sleeves. And what I did here was along the back, I did single crochets instead of making the cardie. So it's not as wide, because instead of doing the granny stitch down the back, I did single crochets. You follow where I'm coming from? So the cardie's not as wide, but you still have like almost a 3/4 length sleeve on that. But then there's more, oh, wrong side, more width because I did panel of single crochets in back, if I remember correctly. But there's no hoodie on that. I believe most of this yarn is Red Heart, and then the white actually has flecks of color in there, but I don't remember what yarn I used for that. But probably most of this is like a Red Heart Super Saver type yarn. I probably do have more of this yarn if I want to throw a hood on it. Throw a hood on it. All right, 2 more sweaters. I think, yeah, 2 more sweaters. All right, this one here. Some of these are keepers, some of these aren't. This one, I believe this is Bitty Stripes. I do have other Bitty Stripes sweaters. No, I lied. There's another Bitty Stripes sweater over here. So there's 3 sweaters. So hang in there. Okay, another hoodie. And this, I believe, is Bitty Stripe. So you got the big hoodie. And then nice long full sleeves. And the trim on here, I did not pull it in tight. I didn't want it to have that tight here and then poof. I wanted it to kind of hang, because you technically, you could even stick your finger through here if you wanted, to wear it over your hand or whatever. But it's long. It goes past my buttocks. And I did a repeat pattern. It was not a pattern, but again, I went from this particular corner all the way around to the back, almost like I was doing a blanket. I just went back and forth, but I made it wide enough that it's going to go around me. And then when I got to where the sleeves are, and see how that's continuous? I just went one way with the color and across the back, and then one way with the other side. I believe I went, then I added on and then went to one side and then went up the other side. But being that it's I did have to color control, but it is variations of colors, so it's not as noticeable that I was switching up the direction of the stitches. But then you get a nice big hoodie, and I kept with, I think it was a 5 or 6 row repeat, but again, no pattern, just what I felt like doing, and just kept doing it. And then did a little bit of a trim down the front, and also I did a trim on the sleeve, and I did a trim along the bottom. But I didn't do the trim that really pulls it in. But this one's probably a keeper. I like the colors. It's very nice for the fall. And I also made a matching hat with that same pattern as the sweater. So the hat goes with it. Then this sweater I did a while ago. I just had it in a bag. No hoodie, but it does have a collar. And this is out of Puzzle Yarn. Very long sleeves, and it's very long sweater, and just full arms on the sleeves, and no hoodie, just a small like little collar. But it's pretty. It's Puzzle Yarn. And this one I did, instead of circular this way, I went up and down with my stitches. So my stitches are from top to bottom, or bottom to top, whichever you want to do. But that I'm feeling I have the tag. This is what I need to start doing, is attaching the tag right to the item. Yeah, this is the Puzzle Yarn. I use 3 skeins, and it's the colorway Sorry, which I don't know if this is still, they do that to us. We like a yarn. Oh, let's discontinue it. But, then we get new colorways. So it's okay. And then the other colorways become more special because you can't get them anymore. Like my mandala tweed stripe. If you have extra mandala tweed stripes hanging around in your stash, and you are willing to live without them, let me know. Because that's my favorite yarn. Though I tell you, the whirligig, which I think also is discontinued, I like the whirligig too. So a couple faves. Why am I putting them away? Got to feed that OCD, you know. All right, so I'm working on the yellow Colorama sweater now, and I will show you that when I get that done. And then I've been doing a lot of the Bibelicious Dickies. I should actually do a video showing you those. I made a lot of the little shawlettes and the Bibelicious Dickies, because I couldn't call them Dickalicious because that just gives you a whole different vibe. They're going, all of those are going to the fair in a couple days. So I should probably do a video to show them, which I won't do it now because this is already way longer than you want to be here. All right, so this is the last sweater I worked on just prior to the one I'm working on now, because I was busy in between doing the shawlettes and the Bibelicious Dickies. There is a video, unconventional tutorial video of the Bibelicious Dickie, because I didn't follow a pattern. Other people do it, but I made up my own thing. All right. Big hoodie. Bitty stripes. Love this yarn. It's not the softest. It's nowhere near as soft as the Caron Halo. But just love the colors. So this is, again, the Hexie Cardi. What I didn't want the sleeves to be super big. So as I was going along on each of the, I did do a short or maybe a small video on how I did this on two sides that were going to be the ones that attach on the top. Instead of doing, I stopped doing the granny stitch and started doing, I think a half double, so that it didn't make the sleeves so darn big. Because that's the thing, they're big. The sleeves were just so big. But then I added on for length. And then as I added on, I decreased. So this one does have the puffy, this will have the puffy sleeves, okay? But also along the back is, I do believe I did, oh no, I just attached down there, yeah. No, I just attached, but I do think I on the very bottom, I did add a couple rows of granny stitches just to make it longer. And then the hoodie is just double crochets. So yeah, this was cool. This size, I can't roll back any farther. That's the hood. I had Craig try it on over a sweatshirt and it fit him. You know, it fit nicely. So I'm going to have to say that this sweater is probably at least a 1X, if not probably a 2X. Which I don't ever try on my things when I'm making them. If you do know, I made another one that was like a 8X. I just finally gave it all away to somebody and the extra yarn, because I was like, oh my gosh. But those, so this is something obviously I'm not going to keep. It might be available as a giveaway prize at some point, or on the wheel. Actually, give me the opportunity if you're still here. This is great. On Wednesdays, let me take this tag off. On Wednesdays, we do a live on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, me and Rusty. And we also do a live on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesdays, however, is our Wheel of Winnings Wednesday. And there's 2 of each option, or 6 options. And any super chat, super stickers, each gifted memberships. Plus, we always give free chances to win. And at the end, we pick a number, and whoever's number comes up, we spin the wheel for them, and then they get an opportunity to win something on here. And you do have to be here to win it, because so many of them are questions you have to answer. There's options. So yeah, so if you're on a Wednesday night, if you have nothing better to do, come hang out with us, and you might be able to win something. There's hand-dyed yarn, and Mama G makes, And oftentimes it'll be, well, hey, what do you want? You want this, that, or the other thing, so you get to pick, you know. So that's kind of cool. I think it's cool. Anyway, a couple ponchos there. Let me show you. All right, 2 ponchos, and then we're out of here, folks. And thank you guys. And I do appreciate, we always appreciate all your support all these years that you guys have really hung in there with us and been so kind, and your family. All right, so this is also the puzzle yarn. I don't remember the colorway, but it's puzzle yarn. It is, I did a quickie tutorial. I'm just noticing that it's, because it's yarn and it's on a hanger, it's kind of giving that, that'll come out. That, you know, where it's kind of sticking up. But this is, and I didn't finish my sentence. I did a short showing what I did here. This is just a 2 increase. It's just an increase in the back and an increase in the front. So it kind of like is more fitted and more comfy. I also added a hood. If you make this poncho without a hood, then you can wear it this way where it's shorter. And I did put little sleeve things here on either end, just so it stays with you when you're moving. But if you make this, and I've made these with the 2 increases instead of the 4 increase, where you can wear it this way, where it's long pointed in front and long pointed in the back and a little less on the shoulders. Or you can switch it the other way where it's long down your arms and it cuts straight across the front and back. So that's really an interesting concept for a poncho. So there's that poncho. And then the last poncho is I believe this is a 5 or a 6 increase poncho. And this was an older yarn. I'm sure it's discontinued. It's a 5 weight, kind of an old Americana, you know, red, white, and blue and pink in there. And I believe it's 6 points. I think this is a hexagon. And then I just added a collar on it that you could fold over, which is a ribbing up and down. So you have the colors red, white, you know, and pink or red, you know, blue, whatever. But yeah, really super warm, really super pretty, very heavy, and kind of has almost a web kind of look on the bottom. So yeah, those are the makes that I'm showing you here, not to mention all the other ones I've been making. So I've been a busy cow, because I'm a cow, because I'm not picking on myself. I'm utterly ridiculous because I'm wearing a cow costume. This actually has the whole cow hoodie thing going too. You know, yeah. But one of the horns got chewed off by one of the dogs. So anyway, which is fine. I love you guys. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Running. Well, I haven't done a video in a long time. So if you're still here, truly appreciate it. Please remember to leave a meaningful comment that kind of has something to do with the video, because it really does help our channel. And it helps all YouTube channels. When we give you any kind of advice on or information about how to help a content creator or a channel that you like, when we do that, we don't do it just for ourselves. We do that so you could do that for all the content creators that you care about and you enjoy watching. So whenever I do some research and find out some cool stuff, like hyping a video really does help now, at the time of this filming anyway, because YouTube changes their mind quite a bit, and we'll just leave it at that. And anyway, we do appreciate that. We appreciate the thumbs. We appreciate the comments. We read all the comments. We don't always respond because just not enough time. I just don't have the time. And if you're a regular here, you know that that's one of my taglines. All right, so just deal with it, which is another tagline. And we love you. Be well. Have a yarnalicious day, another tagline. And a lot of taglines. And a lot of sweaters. Make a lot of sweaters. I love making sweaters. So yeah, some of these, maybe if they're still available and you're interested, you know, give me MamaG@yahoo.com. Should be in the description box below. And I don't do custom orders really per se. I also dye yarn, in case you're new here and you don't know that. I also dye wool fibers. Let me just do a little hoe myself out right here. And Rusty dyes Pima cotton, and she does an amazingly incredible job. It's like magic. But this is some DK or fingerling, yeah, fingerling Stellina, and this is like a Aurora Borealis. colorway. Oftentimes my Aurora Borealis colorways are more predominantly blue. This one is more predominantly green because it changes depending on the gases that are being emitted, allegedly. Another tagline. But we do dye yarn. I dye a lot of yarn. My whole entire twin bed in here, which no one sleeps on, this is just the Zen Den, is covered with piles of yarn and now sweaters, which is fine. I might just jump on there and sleep there tonight. What a comfortable bed that is. Yarn and sweaters. Anyway, love you guys. Have a yarnalicious day. Be kind, because be a good human. Be a nice human. It's so much easier to be nice than it is to be mean. Be kind to one another. Have patience. And also live in the moment. Don't worry about the past. Can't do much about it except learn. And don't worry about the future, because you really don't have a lot of control over it. But the choices that you make here, now, and in this moment really do balance. You can have them balance both your past, reconcile with your past, and also the choices you make in this moment can reflect and affect your future. Wow, that was not intended, so not too bad considering. All right, love you guys. Again, enough. Get off of here, woman. All right, bye-bye for now.